While the retribution of the drone strike that killed Soleimani and many of his supporting military entourage is still up in the air, you don't necessarily have to be pro-Iran to see how the US has escalated tensions and hopes that Iran will make a serious judgment call, allowing us to use some of our war toys to show them who's boss. We can start all the way back in 1953, as a new democratically elected leader was beginning his administration that campaigned on a platform of nationalizing the oil industry so the US and UK couldn't exploit the country for cheap oil anymore. Our government, along with the United Kingdom, ran a propaganda campaign, paid mercenary mobs to riot that eventually convinced the Shah to help overthrow the newly elected leader who had only Iran in his best interest. This eventually led to massive blowback, resulting in the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Again, we were meddling in Iran's affairs, and it had serious consequences for the people who lived there. In 1988, the US Navy mistakes a large 300-passenger plane coming from Iran as a small fighter jet, shoots it down, and kills 290 people instantly. In 1996, the Clinton administration began sanctions on Iran, which is the same as essentially getting blacklisted so you can't get a job and make money. This helped keep Iran small. In 2001, after the World Trade Center attacks, George W. Bush declared Iran part of the axis of evil that helped attack the United States. There was no evidence to support this accusation in any fashion. In 2013, Obama passed an act allowing the U.S. to sanction foreign banks from doing business with Iran, further keeping the country poor and angry. Finally, before Obama leaves office, he removes sanctions from Iran, after the U.S.'s decades-long game of push-pull to keep Iran small. But as soon as the Trump administration gained power, we walked away from the newly minted deal just as the ink was starting to dry. Then we raised tensions by selling their neighbors in the UAE a shit ton of weapons and posting a picture of Trump and UAE leaders with their hand on the globe, pretty much signaling to the rest of the world leaders they are running shit now. This followed up by accusations of Iran bombing oil tankers, which are based on very loose evidence. Then Houthi rebels attacked Saudi oil production, and we blamed Iran for encouraging the attack. But a quick Google search will help you find a multitude of videos where Saudi Arabian drones continually strike Houthi rebels, and no Iranian fighters are ever involved in these conflicts. Then we shoot one of their drones out of the sky while we are in their backyard in the first place, acting like the world police. And now finally, we drone strike their top general. Now, even though it was in Iraq, believe it or not, Iraq is very destabilized, as you could have seen from the footage of the recent riots. The cops are shooting civilians with live ammunition like dogs. There is no order in Iraq. It is just painted rust. So the general's presence shouldn't be alarming, considering this is an unstable area of the country they share a border with and where conflict could come in. For example, let's put this in our perspective. Mexico is an unstable country, and we are continuously meddling and micromanaging them. In fact, we have an entire law enforcement agency, the Border Patrol, just to police Mexico from bringing their bad juju over here. So Soleimani and Baghdad should not have been a wild card to go ahead and blow them up. So you can go ahead and add that to the pile, an attack on a country that is already poor and angry from years of sanctions and being stepped on. If we were to shrink this down to say a country is equivalent to the size of a house, we just destroyed their gun for home protection because they were keeping an eye on their neighbor who is an unstable tweaker. So in this particular case, you don't have to be seen as pro-terrorist, pro-left, or pro-right, or even pro-Iran to be against this strike on General Soleimani. You're just against continually poking a hornet's nest that we created, and we are afraid they're going to punch back. Unfortunately, the people who will ultimately suffer an attack will most likely be American civilians who had nothing to do with our military intelligence agency's beef with Iran over the years, which, by the way, has existed regardless of the administration, making it a career of punking Iran, then threatening to carpet bomb them if they don't like it when we feel a little insecure about them punching back. I fucking wonder why they are trying to make nuclear weapons.